This segment is brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
Welcome to Farm Factor at the KLA Annual Meeting in Wichita. Today, Kyle Bauer visits first with Randy Blach about the challenges that face the livestock industry over the past few years.
Randy, you're probably as qualified as anyone in the nation to talk about the cattle market. It's been quite a roller coaster over the last year.
Oh, it's been a roller coaster over the last couple of years, Kyle. You know, you think about 2000, the transition from 2013 to 2014, we had the third biggest price increase in the history of our industry. And then from 14 to 15, we had the third biggest price decline in the history of our business. So a year ago, we recognized at this time the market was in the process of making the cycle highs, but I have to admit, I've been surprised at the rate of decline, how fast we've gone down, especially in here over the course of the last few months.
You know, it surprises me that a lot of the cycles that we saw in the past, we see a similar sort of thing this time we saw people feeding cattle to really, really heavy weights. And when I was a kid in 75, we saw the same thing.
Well, some things don't change. You know, when you go back and you look at the economics of the business, we have some rules that we follow in our office. We call them the 3 cardinal rules. If we have premium boards, we have a poor swap on feeder cattle, and we've got cattle losing money. We've had all 3 of those things in play in here over the course of the last several months. And typically when you see that, we end up with a market that you are uncurrent on the front end, too many heavyweight cattle, too many yield grade 4s and yield grade 5s, and it just seems like it takes forever to get through that front end supply. So you're spot on. This is the same thing that's happened back in the 70s, a couple of times in the 80s, the 90s, and even in the previous decades. So you get one of these every 5 or 6 years, but this one was aggravated by a number of other things. We've had a major slowdown in the U.S. export markets because of the strength in the dollar. So the slowdown in these export markets has pushed an incredible increase in the amount of tonnage back on the U.S. beef market. Let me qualify that. Not the U.S. beef market, the U.S. protein market. So we've seen pork exports are basically flat for the year. Typically we export 25% of all of our pork production. They're flat on an 8% increase in pork production. Poultry exports are down 14%. Beef exports are down 14%. Those are numbers that we expected would be a little bit higher for the year. So those are major changes in what that domestic supply looks like.
Truly, though, as we look at the historicness, as we look at the price of feed grains right now and the price of beef that we're getting right now, historically, it's really not too bad a pricing.
No, it's not. It's not too bad a pricing, but it's relative when we have the highest break-evens in the history of our industry for our margin operators. So the cattle that are coming out of our feed yards, most of those cattle would have break-evens that are in the high 50s to the high 60s. Stocker operators break-evens in here at 2 to 220, and we've got feeder cattle prices trading in here from 160 to 180. So you know, you're sitting in here with the margins being really compressed in here with the first cost on these cattle.
We're visiting with Randy Blach. He's CEO of CattleFax. After this break, we'll be right back and visit more with Randy.
Folks, stay with us. Kyle will be back with more from Randy Blach after these words from our sponsors.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.